Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my December 2018 mid-month wrap-up. So these are all the books that I read from the 1st to the 15th of December, a short summary of each of them essentially. I will not be going through any stats or anything at all like that. I do those at the end of the month, so stay tuned for that, probably coming the first week of January. So let's jump right in and get started. 13 books that I finished, so not too shabby. The first one, and I'm going in the order that I read them, was Moonlight Over Manhattan by Sarah Morgan. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is for my holiday book bingo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the book cover here and then I'll stick the bingo card up here so you can see what square I got. So for my holiday book bingo, this was for a book that a book with stars on the cover. And this is book number 6, the sixth and final book in the From Manhattan with Love series. It was narrated on audio by Jennifer Woodward, published originally in 2017, an average rating on Goodreads of 4.12 stars. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. This was the story of Harriet, and she, over a series of events, ends up meeting this doctor in an emergency room. And over a series of events on his end, he ends up taking care of his sister's dog. And she, of course, is part owner of the Bark Rangers dog walking service that you have been meeting pretty much since book number 1 in the series. Her and her twin sister Felicity own this together. And she agrees to look after the dog while he's taking care of it, like she's going to walk the dog and stuff like that. So he's having trouble controlling the dog because he's not a fan of dogs, and he needs the help. So it was reminiscent to me a little bit of Miracle on Fifth Avenue, which was the 3rd book in the series and the other Christmas book in this series. There are 2. And where the fact that she goes and lives with him to help look after the dog, where in that story Eva moves in with the writer so she can kind of be his muse. So it was reminiscent a little bit that way. But yeah, it was still a really enjoyable story, really, really cute, classic Sarah Morgan. I absolutely loved it. Great Christmas in New York story. The next book that I finished was A Celebration Christmas by Nancy Robards Thompson. This is another contemporary romance novel. It is book number 7 in the Celebrations Inc. series. Harlequin Special Edition number 2368. Published originally in 2014. Average rating of 3.71 stars on Goodreads. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This one was cute, very classic contemporary romance type tropes in this one, where a man gets temporary custody of his best friend's 4 children. His best friend and his wife, the best friend's wife, died in a car accident, and he has agreed to take the 4 kids for pretty much the month of December until social services or children's services can find a suitable home for them that it will not split up the 4 kids. And of course he is a doctor and, you know, works 18-hour days and things like that. So he's not going to be at home to look after these kids. And originally he had his housekeeper looking after them, but she just couldn't handle them. They were very rambunctious. I mean, and they also just lost their parents, so there is that as well. So he hires this nanny over the month of December, and of course a relationship starts between the 2 of them. Super cute. I really enjoyed it. If you like that kind of a trope in romance novels, definitely check this one out. The next one, Playing with Fire by Francine Pascal. This is a YA romance novel. It is book number 3 in the Sweet Valley High series. Published originally in 1983. I gave it it has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.47 stars, and I gave it 3 stars. Didn't love this one. I don't think it's one of those where as an adult I didn't like it, like, oh, I can see all the problems with it as an adult. No, I'm pretty sure when I read this one as a young adult, I did not care for it either. There's a lot of fat shaming in this book. I don't like the way Jessica kind of falls for Bruce and stops having a mind of her own, and he's very controlling and things like that. You know, I mean, it's the plot of the story that, you know, she's always been in love with him, and, you know, when he finally starts to want to date her, she completely changes who she is to suit him, which, you know, I mean, that happens all the time. It happens now. You know, so it's not like it's something that, you know, is something that, you know, either you experienced it yourself perhaps, or you had a friend who experienced it. So on that aspect of it, I appreciated it, that it's more of a universal kind of a concept. But the fat shaming in this book is what really lowered the star rating for me, because there's one girl in the book named Robin who is, they, you know, say that they pretty much say she's fat. And pretty much every character, even Sweet Elizabeth, thinks that, and, you know, and makes comments about it. It's just, yeah, it's not cool. I don't care what the time period is, it's not cool. The next one that I finished was All I Want for Christmas is a Cowboy. This was by Emma Kane, Jennifer Ryan, and Katie Lane. It is a contemporary romance novel. For my holiday book bingo, I got the free space, so that's Santa Claus Now. He is my free space on my bingo card. This was narrated on audio by 3 different narrators: Colleen Marlowe, Hilary Hubber, and Nicole Poole. This was originally published in 2013. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.95 stars. I gave it 3 stars. So I've mentioned this in my weekly vlogs, excuse me, that when I read anthologies, I rate each individual story, and then I take all those ratings and add them together and divide it by the number of stories to get my full star rating. So this one I got 3 stars for. So the 3 stories narrated down. So the first one is The Christmas Cabin by Emma Kane. This one I gave 4 stars to. It was really cute. This was, this was my favorite out of the entire anthology. And it was about a woman and her son, her young son. And they're out cutting down a Christmas tree, and they get lost in a snowstorm. And they end up staying at this cabin, and there's this man who ends up finding the cabin in the snowstorm as well. And, you know, over the course of a few days, you know, they're kind of, in a way, playing house as they're snowbound in this cabin. And then they end up getting rescued. But of course the man and the woman end up having a relationship, and it was super duper adorable. Very festive, very Christmassy. I really liked it. The second story was called Can't Wait by Jennifer Ryan, my least favorite in the 3 stories. And this one I gave 2.5 stars to. It was about a woman who was in love with her brother's best friend, and, you know, the whole novel was pretty much, oh my gosh, we can't be in this relationship because your brother is, you know, the brother's going to be so upset. And then when the truth is revealed, the brother's kind of like, yeah, so what? It was very anticlimactic. I did not like it. You know what? It's not that I didn't like it. I didn't love it. You know, I didn't think it was that great. Yeah, not a fan. And the third one was Baby It's Cold Outside by Katie Lane. This one I gave 3 stars to. This is about a woman who leaves her home in Hawaii and decides to travel to, I think it was Montana, to meet up with the guy that she's been chatting with online. And this one, did I say I gave it 3? Yeah, I think I said I gave it 3 stars. And she gets, again, stuck in a snowstorm and gets rescued by this guy. Well, she's seen pictures of the guy she's going to meet, which just is part of the reason this one bothered me, is that it's like, you are an idiot. You drove all the way to where this guy lives. He could be an axe murderer. But anyway, she ends up shacking up in the cabin with this, who she thinks is the guy she's been corresponding with's brother. So yeah, and then truths come out and things like that. Again, I didn't hate it, didn't love it. The first story in this one was the best. If you do want to check this one out on audio, it's not part of the Audible romance package, I don't think. I got it from my library on audio. And the audio on it was quite good. I didn't mind that so much. But yeah, it's just some of these stories were not that fantastic. The next one I finished was Christmas Ever After by Sarah Morgan, another Sarah Morgan novel, another contemporary romance. For my holiday book bingo, this is for a book with holiday lights on the cover. Book number 3, the third and final book in the Puffin Island series. So I finished 2 series this month so far. Great. Published originally in 2015. Average rating on Goodreads of 4.29 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars. This one was really cute. This, I believe, was my favorite in the Puffin Island series. This is about a woman who, her name's Skylar, and she's an artist. And the Puffin Island series is about three best friends. So the other 2 had their stories already. And this is the 3rd friend, and her and Alex, who's our male lead, they do not get along. They've never gotten along. And she is an artist, and her family doesn't agree with what she does. You know, they don't consider that she has a real job and things like that. And she's been dating this guy named Richard, who's a total jerk face. And I have worse words for him, but I like to think the kids can watch my my videos with mom and dad, or whoever's watching this at the time, and not feel like they have to explain things to the kids. So he's a jerk face, and he what's the word I'm looking for? He proposes to her essentially in like this huge setting of people, and it's more for him. Everything he does is for him. You know, some truth come out after they split up, because, no, not giving away too much of the story, but after they split up, about the reason, about how he started courting her or seeing her and things like that. So then her and Alex end up developing this relationship, and it's super duper cute, super, super sweet. I love the relationship between the three friends. That's like the highlight of this series for me. So, you know, if you like that kind of an aspect along with a good contemporary romance, definitely check this one out. Next up, A Cold Creek Christmas Story by Rayanne Thayne. Another contemporary romance. For my holiday book bingo, this was a story about a family, and it is book number 14 in the Cowboys of Cold Creek series. Another Harlequin special edition, number 2443. Yeah, 2443. This was narrated on audio by Celeste Kalua, published originally in 2015. Average rating on Goodreads of 4.17 stars. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was a cute story about a man and his young daughter who come back to the town of Cold Creek because his grandmother passed away, and he is kind of having to pack up her home. And his daughter has just suffered a very traumatic experience. She was actually very, very ill, very badly injured. She was in intensive care for quite some time, and she's very withdrawn now. And they meet the local town librarian, and of course a relationship develops, and she helps the little girl. Really cute story, really enjoyable. I do not judge the narrator when I give a book rating, but I have to say the narrator on this one kind of drove me just a little bit bonkers, because she tended to really pause after saying sentences. Like, even it's something, and I listen to my audiobooks at 2 times speed. It was noticeable at that speed. And I can just imagine how noticeable it would be at normal speed. So this is one, and I read a lot of the reviews on Audible afterward. A lot of people said you kind of got to speed it up a bit, because it can really get annoying. It's not a terribly long book. It's only like 225 pages, but the audio was like 7 hours. So that should tell you how, you know, it all depends on the narrator on how quickly or slowly they speak. And with the fact that she takes a lot of pauses, it didn't take away from it, but it's something I noticed towards the end. You know, it kind of clued into me, and I went, oh yeah, that's what she's doing. But yeah, but just to say, it is part of the Audible romance package though. It's this one and another Cold Creek Christmas Story. Not, this one was a Cold Creek Christmas Story, but another Christmas story set in the Cowboys of Cold Creek series. So it's two audiobooks in one. The next one I finished, I really thought this one was cute. Dashing Through the Snow, and this was by Debbie Maycomer. This is another Say It With Me Everybody contemporary romance. For my holiday book bingo, this was a holiday book that was turned into a movie. So this book was actually available, I think, on the Hallmark Channel. I really want to see it now. I'm going to have to see if my husband can find a place for me to be able to watch it. Maybe it'll be on W or Bravo or something like that. Narrated on audio by Allison Ryan. She did a really great job. Published originally in 2015. Average rating of 3.62 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought this was super duper adorable. So it's about a woman who is trying to fly home on 2 days or 3 days before Christmas, and for a reason she is unable to book a flight. She ends up having a chance meeting with a man by the name of Dash. Her name is, I can't remember, I'm sorry. I can't remember her name. Ashley. I want to say it's Ashley. And the two of them end up, you know, through circumstance, taking this road trip together from San Francisco to Seattle. And kind of the trials and tribulations that happen along the way. They adopt a puppy, they run into a motorcycle gang, they end up getting arrested. You know, it was delightful and fun. It was a clean story, which is always really, really nice. You know, I don't mind some hot and heavy, but every now and then a clean story is highly enjoyable. And yeah, this one was really cute, really short on audio. I grabbed this one from my library as well on audio, and I absolutely recommend it. The next one, speaking of cute stories, My Forever Home by Debbie Burns. This is another contemporary romance. The third book in the Rescue Me series. I don't know if this is the final book, but I have read up to current. And it was published this year in 2018. This was a NetGalley read for me. An average rating of 4.27 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this one. So it's about a gentleman who is a pro baseball player, actually, and he has injured his shoulder. So it is the end of the season. The story starts in October, and it leads up until and through Christmas. And there is a stray dog in his neighborhood that he's trying to rescue, essentially. And there is a woman, and she works at the local no-kill animal shelter, which is where this whole series is based around, this animal shelter. And she agrees to help him try and find the dog. And over the course of them working together, a relationship develops, and I really enjoyed this one. There are parts of this story that are told from the stray dog's perspective, and it can break your heart, you guys. Like, I am an animal lover regardless. Dog, cat, doesn't matter to me. I don't ever want to see an animal suffer. But this will tug at your heartstrings, even if you're an animal lover, but you're not, you know, adamant about it. It's hard to explain. I think it would soften the hardest hearts towards animals, in my opinion. If, you know, nobody would ever really know what's going through an animal's mind that lives on the streets or that, you know, doesn't have a home. But it just, oh, it was wonderful and sad. And yeah, it was a great, great story. Next book that I finished was Roses for Christmas by Betty Niels. This is a contemporary romance novel. I had a hard time with this one. I'm like, would it be considered contemporary? It was originally published in 1975. So in 75, it was contemporary. What's the cutoff for historical? How many years does something have to be before it's considered to be historical? Harlequin Romance number 2025. Like I said, originally published in 1975. This one has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.97 stars. I gave it 3 stars. This was fun and a cute read. You know, it was a book published in the 70s by Harlequin. It was, you know, romance novels were a lot different back then. This is about a woman who knew a gentleman when she was a little girl. This was part of the story that I had to kind of go, wait a minute, would that be a thing? And she met him when she was 5. He was a bit older. He was, I think, 11. And she has vivid memories of him and of him being a very mean person. And I'm trying to think, if I met somebody when I was 5 and I met them for the grand total of 2 weeks, would I really remember that? Unless he did something horrific, which I don't want to think that that's the case. Anyway, she's a nurse and he's a doctor, and they end up meeting back up as adults, and he treats her in a way very childlike, but I think that's a product of the time that the book was written. I think that was kind of the way some of these relationships went, which is part of the reason I'm super excited about doing my Harlequin, my 40 Years of Harlequin project, to read, you know, how romance novels have evolved over time, you know what I mean? But yeah, a product of its time. I remember when I read this a couple weeks ago that I did look up the author. She passed away in 91 or in 2001. She was born in like 1909 or something like that. So it might have been 2001. And so I got to think when this book was written in 75, how old she was, because it read older than that to me. It read like a book that would have been written about characters in the 50s. So it's kind of interesting or hard to explain, but this book is actually because Betty Niels was such a prolific author for Harlequin that they have gone ahead and they have republished a lot of her work for ebook. So if you're interested in picking this one up, you can absolutely find, of course, it's got a different cover than the one I'm showing you. I actually have the original trade paperback, like the original mass market paperback. I found it at a thrift store. And, but yeah, but if you're interested, check it out. I mean, it wasn't a horrible read, but it was a product of its time, to put it that way. The next book that I finished was Lighting the Flames by Sarah Wendell. She is the creator of Smart Bitches Trashy Books, the website, and the podcast. She is the podcast host, and I adore this. It's one of the podcasts I make sure to check out every week. This is another contemporary romance. For my holiday book bingo, this was a book about a winter holiday that you don't celebrate, because this one, of course, is a Hanukkah story, which is a lot of fun. Originally published in 2014, average rating of 3.56 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was a cute story. It's not terribly long. It's like 160 pages. That's what the Kindle tells me. And it's about two people who knew each other since they were kids. They met at a Jewish summer camp, and since the time that they were 7, they went to camp together all these years, and now they're adults, and they are coming back to the camp to help run it over the Hanukkah season, so during the winter, and kind of their relationship. One of my biggest issues with this is that I felt like I was coming into it without knowing the full story. Like, I know you don't know the whole story at the beginning, that's kind of the point, but I still felt like you were kind of jumping into the middle of something, and there seemed to be like inside jokes and things that didn't get explained, not quickly enough, but kind of hard to explain. Like, I just felt like I was missing stuff, but then when you started to pick up on what was like some of the things that were going on, it became a lot easier. So yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, it was a really cute story, and if you're looking for a good Hanukkah romance novel, definitely check this one out. Next up, we have only 2 more. Amish Christmas Emergency by Dana R. Lynn. This is an inspirational romantic suspense, so it does have religious aspects to this story. For the holiday book bingo, this was the one for A Book with Snow on the cover. This is book number 5 in the Amish Country Justice series. Love-inspired suspense novel 712. It was published originally in 2018, so it is a new book. I think it just came out in December. Average rating of 4.65 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. This book unfortunately suffered from something that I see quite often in these kind of books, where one of the lead characters, usually the one who's in trouble, makes very poor decisions. It's like watching an 80s slashers flick where don't go into the basement, that kind of an idea. You know, there have been people who have been killed. She has been shot at. People at her work, she works at a clinic, have been shot at, but she still thinks it's appropriate for her to go to work because it's flu season and they're short-staffed. Really? So the premise of the story is about a woman who is being stalked by somebody. And she leaves Chicago, which is where she was being stalked, and moves to the small Amish community. She is not Amish, nor is our male lead. It just takes place in an Amish community. And she's kind of hiding out, and then the stalker finds her. So the story kind of goes from there. I mean, outside of her making some very poor decisions, or she didn't make poor decisions, she had poor thought process, it was a good story, and I enjoyed it. You know, a lot of action and stuff like that. And I do like reading the Amish aspects. I think they're very, very interesting. And yeah, so this one was a fun one. And the last book that I finished at the beginning of December was 'Twas the Week Before Christmas by Olivia Miles, another contemporary romance. For the holiday book bingo, this was just a Christmas romance. I mean, any of these could have fit under that category, but this is the one I picked for that. Another Harlequin Special Edition, number 2304, narrated on audio by Holly Fielding, originally published in 2013. Average rating on Goodreads of 3.91 stars. I gave it 3.5 stars. This one, right from the get-go, read to me like a Hallmark Christmas movie. And I don't think this has turned into a Hallmark Christmas movie. But if not, Harlequin, or a Hallmark, Harlequin, I know you're working with Hallmark, you might want to turn this one into a Christmas movie for next year, because it was adorable. So this one was about a woman by the name of Holly. It's funny because 2 of the books that I read this month, A Cold Creek Christmas Story, the narrator's first name was Celeste, and the lead female character's first name was Celeste. And in this story, the narrator's name is Holly, and the main character in the story's name is also Holly. She runs a bed and breakfast in this small town, and this man comes to the bed and breakfast because, unbeknownst to her, he wants to buy the land that she's leasing, that this bed and breakfast sits on, because he wants to demolish everything and turn it into a mall. And, you know, this is her inn, and then, of course, the truth comes out later. He's a little bit, not underhanded, he doesn't come clean as to why he's there, because he is an attraction to her and things like that. So, of course, there's, you know, the strife between the two of them when the truth starts to come out. You know, it was really cute, really interesting. Again, it read just like a Hallmark movie, and it was fantastic. Absolutely recommend it. So anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these and what you thought about them, or what was your favorite book that you've read so far in December. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye.